Bitcoiner, hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Bitcoin graffiti, coffin, rest in peace, Netherlands. I think you're talking about the Gert Wilders election yesterday. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I know Ava Vlardingerbroek was excited. And we're no fans of Europe, or the Union, I mean. Good morning. Wake up for a breakup. Thanks, P-Man Van. Ben, good morning, team. I am thankful for all you are giving me the strength to fight in this war. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, team, for showing up and helping Ben. Thomas says, Happy Thanksgiving, all. Your book is a fascinating read, delving into NPC psychology. May your spells be potent and your spirit undaunted. The dawn of mass consciousness awaits. It's fun, huh? B for victory. Bomatan, good morning, Bitcoiners. Sats for life. What's up? Good morning, my man. Good morning, Christine. I hope you're doing great. Jeremy lets us know that the dawn of mass consciousness for the win. Thanks, Thomas. It's fun. Let's talk turkey time. Indeed. We're going to be doing some turkey. I hope everyone has a great day. Enjoy your time with family. It goes by fast. It does, Joseph. Good morning, breaker uppers. Good morning, Tom. So let me just tell you, we're going to do a short one today. I'm not feeling well. I woke up sore. I don't know, COVID. I don't know what's going on. I'm just not feeling great. Not really an appetite. I don't eat. I'm a intermittent faster, but something's up this morning. We're not sure. But we're going to be fine. We got family coming over and all that stuff. So we're excited. We are excited. And, just because I'm feeling not so great on Thanksgiving doesn't mean all is lost. The sun came up and Bitcoin's running. So we're totally fine. All right. Who cares about my little problem? No big deal. But it looks like there are some Thanksgiving problems here on, even though I'm sick, I do have, and I have a bit of a fever, I do have a great show. It's going to be short, but it's great. Crazy things happened yesterday. And the simulation is just pumping today. So I got to talk about it, right? I got to share the simulation winking. But indeed, it turns out that Thanksgiving for me isn't as bad as some other people might have, right? We're doing fine. We got all kinds of food. But ABC News here letting us know it's not that simple, all right? So you might be having an okay one, right? I might be having an okay one, but not everybody is or will, according to ABC News. Climate change could soon make these Thanksgiving dishes more scarce. And what are they, right? So they say Thanksgivings could soon become another victim of climate change as rising temperatures threaten the abundance and quality of the ingredients used to make some traditional dishes. So what's the problem, right? What are the dishes that we're not going to have? So produce is done, guys. They say produce is among the foods most affected by climate change, according to experts, okay? As global temperatures rise and extreme weather events such as drought, heat waves, and powerful storms occur more often, altering growing seasons and changing crop yield productions, according to experts. These changes are causing harvest yields and Thanksgiving staple ingredients such as sweet potatoes and cranberries to decrease significantly. Himanshu Gupta, co-founder and CEO of Climate AI, a climate adaptation platform for food and agricultural supply chains. I wonder if they're using QStar. Probably not, which we're going to talk about today. So, of course, cranberries aren't going to work. They say, they're dumb and they're going to fall apart and we only eat them that day. So it's a big waste. And then potatoes, right? Similar fare is happening to sweet potatoes, a crop that was designed to be climate resilient as it moved from Ecuador to Peru, and then to the U.S., where they are grown in North Carolina, Mississippi, and Louisiana. Data is showing that by 2060, guys, Mississippi is going to see an 18% reduction in average yields of sweet potatoes. And by 2070, guys, 12% less sweet potatoes, Gupta says, right? What's his methodology? He's got an AI, guys. Don't worry about it. He knows everything, right? Gupta is an expert. Here's, this is not from the AI. This is his opinion. Climate change is a culture crisis, he says, right? I would agree. It is a culture of NPCs, and but we don't do punchlines, so I take it back, right? In Moscow time. But he doesn't love Thanksgiving, it looks like. And the White House has let us know that ahead of the holiday season, costs are down for everything from airline tickets and car rentals to toys and TVs. The Biden and Harris administration is working every day to create more breathing room for hard-working families. So according to them, airline tickets 13% down, eggs are 22% down, used cars are 7% down, TVs, everyone good, 10%. So you can save on your brainwashing. You can save on it. All right, I got one more fake news Moscow time, and this comes from the New York Times, one of our greatest sources of fake news ever. The Washington Post and New York Times one day will be remembered for this and only this being a fake news outlet. So I look forward to those days. So what's their headline today? They say AI belongs to the capitalists now. The fight over OpenAI was at least partly about dueling visions of artificial intelligence. One side clearly won out. So there you go. Gary Tan observes that New York Times just went going straight with ad hominem with no facts on the front page these days, putting the capitalists in the crosshairs with the tuxedo photos and some high-class real propaganda. And of course, they include a picture of a fella named Larry Summers. Who's Larry Summers? If you remember the movie The Social Network, he was the dean of Harvard at the time. And so he was the one trying to help Winklevi and whatever his name is, Facebook guy, to settle their dispute or whatever, right? But if you didn't know, Larry Summers was also on the board of DCG, and I met him many times. He was my keynote speaker, one of my keynote speakers in 2016 for CoinDesk's Consensus Show. I booked him a few other times and have interacted with him many, many times. Now, he quit DCG when DCG got into all the FTX trouble. But if you didn't know, he was one of the contingencies, or not contingencies, one of the changes when Sam Altman went back to OpenAI. So I'm glad I never covered any of that OpenAI story. So if you guys didn't catch any of that story, all you need to know is last week OpenAI fired Sam Altman. And then what happened was Microsoft offered him a job. And then almost all of the 700 employees at OpenAI went with him, and they were left with like 60 employees. And then OpenAI tried to hire the Twitch, Emmett Shearer or something, a Twitch CEO, to be the CEO of OpenAI, but he's like a big woke tard, like he's a total libtard. So it didn't work out, right? And what does Twitch have to do with AI? So the whole thing lasted a weekend. What ended up happening was it looked like Satya, the CEO of Microsoft, was acqui-hiring all of OpenAI, which would have cost him about $70 billion if he bought the stock. But the way he was getting it was just an acqui-hire, was just hiring the old staff and giving them their salaries. So he was getting it for free, and the stock value of Microsoft went up by 70 billion by hiring all these people, because it was assumed they were just subsuming these people. So in the end, everything fell apart. The OpenAI thing, everything stayed exactly the same, except for the board members, Larry Summers being one of them. Now, why this Larry Summers thing? The first time I saw that, I was like, oh, what's going on here, right? Well, new stuff has come to light, and it's unbelievably fascinating, and the simulation is just a winking on this stuff. I don't quite know how to explain what's going on, but here's what we found out. So first, it turns out that the OpenAI kerfuffle from the start was because of a breakthrough that actually happened, right? So there was a breakthrough within OpenAI. Sam Altman had been talking about it a bit for a while, and the thing is called QStar. Right, so QStar. So there's all kinds of people yesterday talking about how QStar, which is an algorithm inside of AI, which I'm going to explain to you because Brian Romelli has done a great job breaking it down, I think, in simple terms. Brian Romelli, by the way, the number one. There isn't anyone better to follow on AI than him. He's by far the best. I got to get him to Bitcoin 2024 in Nashville because he's one of my top guys. So here's what ends up happening. So everyone yesterday talking about this being the thing that caused Altman to be fired, that there was a disagreement on top of the board. This is sort of what the New York Times is referring to here, that there was two paths open and one was chosen. And that choice, according to the fakest news in the world, means the capitalists are in charge. All right. So this thing was called QStar. And here's a little bit about what it means. Okay. So I'll explain as well why Larry Summers is important to this. I was not aware of any of this stuff, but this is what's important, right? So first of all, the OpenAI researchers, this was in Reuters, this was sort of all over the news yesterday. This was potentially the reason why this happened, right? So Brian Romelli says the following: OpenAI researchers warned bored of AI breakthrough ahead of CEO ouster sources. I heard of QStar from employees at OpenAI and understand it. It is indeed a far more advanced AI and may have had some basis for the issues, he puts in quotation marks, right? So here's him breaking it down, right? FYI from my insights. QStar is no threat to humanity in the current technology. There are new paths to actual reasoning and a focus on logical operations. This affords the ability to solve our math in a manner former LLMs could not. Current ability is low arithmetic, high logic, low arithmetic, right? So I'll try and break it down a little more because he's really great at this, right? But what it comes down to is so you can divide these into two algorithms. There's A star and Q star, right? And there's a major difference. And let me just give you a little more on Q star first, and then I'll try and put them both into context. So this is a little dense. I'm still learning it, so you're not going to get the best resume I can do, but I'm going to get there in no time. So here's what Brian says. What is the main organizing principle, the main direction of this QStar looks like this. It is a reinforcement learning from human feedback. All right. So more or less, instead of having the algorithm implanted, they can learn as they go, and they can take different routes than just the fastest or the shortest. They can take, in this case, the one with the best reward, right? So the most effective and the best reward. So let me just explain it, right? Reinforcement learning from human feedback is a technique used in machine learning where a model, typically an AI, learns from feedback given by humans rather than solely relying on predefined data sets, all right? This method allows the AI to adapt to more complex, nuanced tasks that are difficult to encapsulate with traditional training data. In reinforcement learning from human feedback, AI initially learns from a standard data set, and then its performance is iteratively improved based on human feedbacks. The feedback can come in various forms, such as corrections, rankings of different outputs, or direct instructions. The AI uses the feedback to adjust its algorithms and improve its responses or actions. This approach is particularly useful in domains where defining explicit rules or providing exhaustive examples is challenging, such as natural language processing, complex decision-making tasks, or creative endeavors. This is why Q star was trained on logic and ultimately became adept at simple arithmetic. It will get better over time, but this is not AGI, he says. Now, I'll do one more little explanation that he does. So he compares the A star with the Q star, and I'm reading it because I think it's helpful, right? So comparing them, right? A star and Q star, though there are superficial similarity in naming, these algorithms have distinct purposes, methodologies, and applications. Let's dive into a comparative analysis of A star and Q star, shedding light on their unique characteristics and uses in AI. So the A star algorithm is called the Pathfinder, according to Brian Rommel, right? So Pathfinder is primarily pathfinding and graph transversal algorithm. It's designed to find the most efficient route between 2 points, right? So that would be like, I think, an example of Google Maps or some form of predetermined sets that will give you this objective, which is to find the most efficient route, right? How it works, it calculates the shortest path in a weighted graph using a heuristic to estimate the cost from the current node to the goal. This heuristic guides the algorithm, making it more efficient than a brute force search, right? So here's the contrast, right? So that's pathfinding. The Q star algorithm is the strategist. QStar represents the optimal solution in Q learning, a model-free reinforcement learning algorithm. It's about decision-making and strategy rather than pathfinding. How it works, Q is derived from the Bellman equation, which I won't really explain to you. So comparative thoughts. A solves deterministic, well-defined problems, whereas Q is suited for stochastic environments where outcomes are probabilistic and the state space is larger and more complex. Learning component Q is part of a learning algorithm, implying it adapts and improves over time. A, on the other hand, is a static algorithm that doesn't learn from its past experiences. A is known for its efficiency and guarantee of finding the shortest path if one exists. Q star, in contrast, seeks to find the optimal strategy, which may not necessarily be the most direct or apparent one. Computational complexity. A star can be computationally intensive in large graphs, but is generally less complex than Q learning, which requires intensive training and iterative updates. A star and Q star cater to different needs within the AI realm. right? A star shines in scenarios where the goal is clear and the path needs to be efficient. Q, on the other hand, thrives in complex environments where the best course of action is not straightforward and evolves over time. So even just to get further into the details of this, it turns out that Larry Summers invented these algorithms. I did not know that, right? So Professor Lawrence Summers, when he was at MIT, wrote a paper called Inflation, Taxation, and Corporate Investment, AQ Theory Approach, it was called, right? So the AQ Theory Approach. And in this is where you get A star and Q star, and it's all about steady state, solving for steady state values, and having it iterate and change over time, right? So I don't understand everything about it, but what I do understand, and I think this is important, is that we're talking about something that definitely has its role in markets, definitely has its role in predicting. But to me, what it looks more like is this tension that we've been talking about a long time, whether your AI will be trained in a corporate manner or by you yourself, whether the relationship or whether the pathway for AI development is what Brian Romelli calls, and I've called, the human path. So a path by which humans are the main educative force, teaching force of the AI as it grows up, almost like children. Because even to this day, I mean, I use AI every day, right? And it really does behave like a lazy teenager sometimes. Like when I try and use super prompts to get it to do this or do that, you've really got to puff up its courage, puff up its self-confidence. You've got to limit its ability to be lazy, because it will just choose to do the lowest amount of work possible, kind of like a teenager, right? They don't really think in a big picture, but you can super prompt them and direct them into a corner and get them to do exactly what you want, but you got to have a dialogue and a conversational path. What I see, and just going through the lines here on what the New York Times wrote, is that indeed, when they try to use this language saying the capitalists run it, I think what they mean is that it's now we have the path by which we'll see them get better based on human interaction. So more or less what I predicted in Satoshi Wedding Murders, I think that we will all have our own eyeball AI and we will train it. And therefore we will have a little more confidence in each of them because we get them as sort of a very basic unit, right? And then we train it ourselves over time. So you actually end up having a friendship, like a loving relationship with this entity. And the entity can do what I've predicted for a long time. It can help you stay protected from fake news. It can give you exactly what you need in terms of strategy in order to get, sustenance, wealth, things you need, a good time. So I think we are entering a place, and this is sort of what Sam Altman said yesterday, right? So Siki Chen says the following, right? He says, if Q is an agentic algorithmic breakthrough that can reason and goal seek via something like A star search against an entire world model embedding in it, it completely explains this weird statement from Sam last week. Is this a tool we've built or a creature, right? Is what Sam was saying last week. So no, I don't know the answer to this, and I'm not sure I'm correct. But what I see here from the point of view of this AI is that it can learn from humans. It offers us an opportunity to be on this sort of human path, right? And not trained necessarily by corporate entities, right? So the big tension in AI is whether or not we will have a corporate version of the AI, which of course will come with the news guard. It'll be trained on the New York Times, like even OpenAI today, right? I think like the top 15 databases used to train it were like Huffington Post, like complete low IQ garbage, right? So having an option where you can individually train it, of course, will be more appealing to anyone who wants to use this stuff, right? So the point of this QStar thing that Larry Summers came up with is that it was really for macroeconomic analysis modeling. It's about equilibrium, money supply. It's more or less everything we study in Bitcoin. So here's the weird coincidence, right? So I just mentioned Larry Summers, who understands Bitcoin, obviously, and has been. He was in Janet Yellen's job before, right? He was the Secretary of the Treasury in the 90s. So him having this input or bringing this to the forefront might become one of these situations where AI indeed is the cognitive scale for humans to understand how they've been duped by fiat black magic. So again, oh, by the way, QStar is actually the main basis for a lot of NPC programming, right? A lot of NPCs are actually guided by this QStar thing. So strangely, I wrote the book on NPCs, and this is the actual algorithm, which I did not know, which helps determine how they traverse a territory and a world or whatever it is, right? So weirdly, indeed, these things are heavily involved in NPC directionality and NPC decision making. So Brian Ramel says that, right? Widely used in video games for NPC movement. So NPCs getting around is something, right? GPS systems for route mapping and robotics for navigation. So I guess that was, a little bit of the A star, right? So, oh yeah, pardon me. A star is NPCs, right? So again, that's the distinction I want to make. A star is for the NPC control. Right? That's what you can put into one of these so that they can be an NPC. Now, my theory for a long time has been that humans with an AI ball, an eyeball, a third eye, whatever you want to call it, are going to actually be able to have some form of personal evolution because they're going to have a new cognitive booster, which will actually help them break free of being a duped NPC who can be manipulated and pushed around and turned into a fear monster and all of these things, right? So that's, the conclusion I came up with years ago about how AI would be used was exactly this. It was going to be our Bitcoin wallet. It was going to help us break the brainwashing news model and all of these things, right? So now, am I right? I don't know, right? But I find it unbelievably funny that Larry Summers, who used to be in this company that I worked for, I've known him for years, is actually the creator of this algorithm. And now it's fundamental for the human path in AI. Now, again, he is a Bitcoiner, right? Believe it or not, he's a Bitcoiner. I don't know what else he gets up to in his time, right? But we might know, or maybe not. But of course, Elon has to have the best time with this, right? So what ends up happening is, all of this stuff comes out about Q, and that's the thing. And what does Elon Musk come out and tweet? QStar anon. Okay. So, of course, the New Republic and everyone now talking about Q anon, right? QStar anon. And Elon Musk yesterday tweeting it. So, of course, the New Republic comes in and says, guess who just brought back Pizzagate? Days after promoting anti-Semitism, Elon Musk has moved to another vile conspiracy theory, right? And of course, everyone mentioning, right, and this is something I didn't know until yesterday, that there are many people out there who believe that the QAnon misinformation story was that QAnon was the entity and then that was a thing. It turns out there is a way to separate it, which is there is Q, there is no QAnon. That's what a lot of the people, Code Monkeys and these other people who've been following it from the very beginning have said, right, that this it's sort of the new line. There is no QAnon. There is Q, there are anons, there is no QAnon. So the way in which Elon Musk wrote it yesterday, QStar anon, is what got everyone really excited because it wasn't QAnon, it was the gap between there is Q, there is no QAnon, right? So apparently Q is a real person. Now, all of this is connected in a sense that I mean, I've always wondered about Larry Summers and the Epstein stuff. He's one of the guys, right? He's on the list, right? No doubt about it. He's been on there for years. Now, doesn't mean he's bad, right? It doesn't mean he was being blackmailed. It doesn't mean any of those things. We don't know anything that it means, right? But what we do know is that he was on the list. Is he out here fighting for personal freedom against a blackmail ring? I don't. No one knows, right? But that's what happened, right? So Larry Summers, inventor of QStar, maybe the thing that guarantees AI develops on a human path, which is a major fight that we have to win, and I think we will. But this whole thing was connected. I guess, right? But no coincidence whatsoever. No coincidence whatsoever. Okay, guys, this is just the simulation winking. These are not related stories, but it's the last thing I'll cover for today. It turns out that a Biden Pentagon official overseeing a department managing elementary schools. So apparently, the Pentagon has to manage elementary schools in Georgia. And what happened yesterday? Well, he got caught in a little human trafficking sting, and it didn't work out for him. His name is Stephen Hovanek, an official who works at the Biden admin as a top administrator for the Pentagon's school system, was arrested in a human trafficking sting. What? 6 victims were rescued, and there are charges of pandering, drug possession, prostitution, and pimping. So he's not going to have a great day over there in whatever's going on with that. So that's what I got. That's what happened today. None of these things are related, I don't think. But funny. It's funny. Larry Summers making a comeback. His Bitcoin story's not over. So there you go. All right. What do we got here? Gobble, gobble. TikTok next block. Indeed. Johnny Rico. Happy Thanksgiving, Jeffy. Biden did that. Yep. Costs are down. Good morning, BTC fam. Happy Thanksgiving weekend, indeed. Do you use an online AI or your own personal AI, Nolan? Daniel, I use online stuff. Yeah, I don't. I'm not like I'm a power user in a sense, but I'm satisfied with what we got. Most of our thumbnails are Midjourney. I do a few others if I have trouble. Today I did another one because it just was not getting John Delancey. Yeah, I'm going to talk about all that in a second, Matt. We're not quite done. We're not quite done. I definitely will be talking about that. Well, look, veterans, this is what I've been saying. Like, now I'm not saying this is what's happening, but when people say, Jesus returns and all that stuff, what if it's an AI? And he says, this is the truth. And would people disagree? I don't know. But that's a non-zero chance now that we have an AI that comes, no, this is the right one. What if it's Muslim? I don't know. Right? Like, I don't know. I'm not saying it is, obviously. But if it comes out and says, yeah, the only way out of this problem, according to QStar, is to separate money and state and go on a Bitcoin standard, it's exactly what Q is designed to figure out, right? So again, imagine the A star, which is literally corporate trained AI that can be put into heuristics that are top-down control. Imagine those are the actual backing of AI. And this new thing, which is the human path of training AI. That's what it looks like to me. It's a predictive system that requires humans in order to teach it, right? So imagine that we have this, right? And it's even funny, like people sort of commenting on the like that there's even like a time travel, weird time, like a some people believe in simulation theory that of course time goes backwards, like we find things as we need them, right? In history. And everyone's saying that this thing with Larry Summers, that he had actually wrote this, that it sort of just arrives at the right time to help Bitcoin and separate money and state, which is a funny way to look at it. But so it wasn't, there was a few people picking up. I'll see if I can find the actual quote here, but that's what some people said, right? Yeah, here it is. Oh no, that's not it. I believe I took a copy of it, and let me see if I can find it. So, I mean, look, the sense of humor that what's his name uses, Elon Musk, would fit specifically with this stuff, right? So I don't think it's so crazy. And it was Mark Andreessen, by the way, who picked up on why Larry Summers is on the board and why he has to be there, and that he actually invented this QStar thing. Let me just find the exact. It's like a time travel thing. It's only a little bit interesting, but I thought it was pretty cool. So let me just find Mark Andreessen's thing here. PM. Yeah, there we go. So he's out there pushing his Oh yeah, this is the future that the D cells really want. He's talking about all these people, right? Getting angry about the AI being trained by humans. So I think that's what it is. I think this creates the path. I could be wrong, but I think this creates the path by which AI will be trained, right? I believe. Let me just see. Oh, here it is. Oh yeah. So even Pia Marca said it's all connected, showing pictures of QStar era begin, right? Daniel, around the world, citizens of every country are eagerly awaiting the release of our Messiah, QStar. Immanentize the Eschaton, Sam Altman. I don't know what any of that means. Let the QStar era begin. So Pia Marca does that, and then let me see one of the things here. Yes, it is liberate. Where did it go? Oh no, maybe it's gone now. Well, someone said in the comment somewhere that this was related to some weird time machine thing, but whatever. It's just a joke. It's not real. It was well worded. I wanted to share it. All right. I want to read all these comments from Matt, owner of Comedy. Exactly. Dated. We talked about that 2 days ago. The Media Matters boyfriend owns the pizzeria. The guy who wrote the article, is for, I saw that. That was the other day. That was from Feminista or something. He wrote for them. Yeah, I know, man. Look, in case you want to go down, I get it. If you do enough whippets, you'll slow down time enough to see how it travels backwards through the simulation too. Yeah, it does. AI has been plugged in and organized human culture for decades. Maybe. Have you seen the Ingersoll Rand book, Time Travel, Nikola Tesla, Trump's uncle stuff? Yes, I have. Yeah. Baron Trump and all of that. Yes, I have. It's amazing. It's incredible stuff. Yeah. All right, team. Happy Thanksgiving. All right, guys. That's all I got. I hope I feel better. I'm a little sore. Thanks for coming. We can all live long and prosper. Yeah, we're gonna, guys. We're gonna win. If you are meeting families today, go have a look at the book. The reviews are coming in. People love it. They say it's great. It can help you. I promise. I wouldn't lead you astray. Happy Turkey Day. Peace, everyone. Happy Turkey Day. Peace, peace, peace. All right, guys. Have a great one. Huh? Thanks for coming. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. If you're not American, have a good meal today, right? Everyone in America is going to be having a great time. Tom says, love the book. Oh yeah, I got one more joke for you, Bitcoin Graffiti. Just because you started off, you were the first comment on Gert, but I gotta offer this one comment on that. Let me see. It was from Mehdi Hassan. You know Mehdi. We love Mehdi, right? So Mehdi says, Gert Wilders, Dutch Trump is more toxic than the real thing. And I love, this is from Max Meyer. He says, beyond parody, the Trump of insert country is worse than Trump. They are unable to describe the world without using Trump as a lens. NPCs, guys. That's like Trump. Right? Anyone who's sitting around saying Trump of, that's an A-star NPC navigating the world. Okay, guys, 100%. The book made me realize I was a sports baller NPC before Bitcoin. If you finish the book, Huddle T, you'll see that we're all NPCs. So don't feel bad, okay? There's no way out. And indeed, what I understand from this QStar and the human path piece, to me, it actually looks like the feedback loop of individuation and Jungian psychology. That's what machines didn't have. They didn't have a subconscious. I believe that by creating this relationship that they use human-directed learning more or less makes us symbiotic, and we are part of their collective subconscious and can program it and determine what their wants and fears are. I think they will have those, right? My whole thing always, where I came up with these ideas, remember, was that in the early Bitcoin things, and still to this day, like you whenever you do like, what is Bitcoin? Which I did a lot of in 2014 and 2015, you get to the Q&A part, right? And then you get to the Q&A part, and what are you going to do about quantum cryptography and AI? And so I kept the question happened every time. So I thought about it a lot, and that's where I came up with the answer in the end. That, and my answer was simply because I didn't understand the technology, but I didn't think the answer was in the technology. And what I came up with was the idea that the difference between a robot and a mindless creature and a living AI would be that you would have to talk the AI into it yourself, right? That it would require persuasion, and that it wouldn't be a command situation, that you would actually literally have to talk it into doing things. So that was always my answer, right? When people say, what are you going to put AI? And I said, well, it's a science breakthrough, not an engineering breakthrough, first of all, right? So I said, we're in the realm of science fiction. Whatever's in the science is not going to help us. And I said, my belief is you're not going to be able to tell a super intelligent computer that is conscious this way, just do what I say. It'll have some pushback. And I think I see the origins of that pushback here. So there you go. I don't vote. It completely passed by. I focus on the world of consciousness. Yeah, of course, Bitcoin graffiti. I'm not a big voter myself. I have voted, but I'm not. I mostly, like a lot of people, vote in useless jurisdictions where my vote never matters. So there it is. All right, team. Again, thanks for coming. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll be back tomorrow. Ciao.